What's up guys, Omni here. You guys know how it goes, another day, another video. Last night I tweeted I sleep. What recent news, topic, tweets, videos you want me to talk about tomorrow? Hey guys, today is Wednesday, November 6th. It's the day after election day, and well, you have to say it. I'm already there. You're already there. We already know. Don't worry. I'll tell you guys everything that you need to know. But before we get into the thick of it, I know what you're thinking. I know you come into this video and I know the question that's currently on your brain right now. You're thinking, Omni, tell me straight up, am I cooked? Bro, I don't know. I'm just a random dude on the internet that's just keeping you guys informed of what's happening around the world. That's it. I'm gonna keep doing that. But if you're looking for some relief or some solace, or if you guys really genuinely just want my advice, because I see a lot of you guys out there on the internet stressing and freaking the hell out. In my honest opinion, if you haven't already, it's time to lock in. Stay informed, be vigilant, be proactive, and think logically. If you currently find yourself in a state of stress, panic, and worry, look, that's completely understandable. I don't know your specific life or what threats you in particular feel like you may be facing. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how to feel or how to cope or how to think. What I will say is that even before this election, during and after, the only thing that you can ever do is what you can. Focus on the things that you can control and don't give so much power to the things that you cannot, okay? That's what creates panic, the lack of control. Personally, guys, and this is just real talk, okay? Just one-to-one really fast between you and me, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and scare you into fear-mongering and make you panic and worry about the state of affairs that I can't even predict. For me, I'm operating for you guys business as usual, which is giving you guys good news and bad news in a digestible format that doesn't feel like you're like doom scrolling through like Twitter or some other toxic website. So with all that said, keep your money up, keep your health and body right, okay? Exercise, gym, diet. Read more, okay? Educate yourselves, stay informed, like I said earlier, and move with intention, okay? If you feel like you've kind of been like on autopilot for the past couple of days, weeks, months, or years, it's now time to kind of switch to manual mode. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'll keep you guys entertained and informed per usual. All right, so now that I've officially calmed some of you down, I know the second thing that you're currently thinking right now. Okay, Omni said I'm cooked. Trump is probably going to be the next president of the United States again. What does this mean for me and for us, or for even people outside of the Americans? Okay, what does it mean for everyone? Well, if you take a look at the 2024 election results per Google, the race has been called by the Associated Press, saying that Donald Trump has won 277 to 224, with 71 million votes going to Trump and 66 million votes going to Harris. Almost pretty much a 5 million vote difference between the two. For the most part, Kamala won majority of the states that are blue. Okay, most of the states that were blue stayed blue, and most of the states that were red stayed red. However, when it came to the swing states being the states that sometimes switch from red to blue, it looks like Donald Trump absolutely destroyed the competition there. In Georgia, it looks like Donald Trump won by only 120,000 votes. One of the very, very huge swing states. Donald Trump took this one. In Michigan, with 98% reporting, looks like Donald Trump won again with less than 100,000 votes. Pretty freaking close in all of these swing states. You've got Wisconsin here. Again, Donald Trump winning with only less than 30,000 votes, bro. Very, very close in these swing states. And Pennsylvania, which was a very key state. Okay, this one was like the most important thing that Kamala basically had to win. It seems like she lost the lead on this as well, with Donald Trump leading with 150,000 votes. All in all, based on all the talks and the reports and the news that I was listening to last night with you guys when we were streaming, it seems like Kamala just underperformed in a lot of the places where she was supposed to dominate Trump, and a lot of the places where Trump was supposed to underperform, he overperformed. Now, here's the other one, the Senate. This is the one that a lot of people actually don't pay attention to. For some reason, some people just pay attention to like who's in office, the president, and that's it. But the Senate and the House are equally as important, because based on who is running the Senate and the House, it might make it easier or harder for the president to run things. And yes, for this race as well, the GOP has shown 52 seats going to the Republicans, which means they have control and majority of the Senate. It looks like the Democrats lost 3 seats and the Republicans gained 3 seats. Finally, when it comes to the U.S. House, it looks like the Republicans might be taking this as well, as they're getting close to the 218 majority at a whopping 199. Currently, right now, though, it's been 1 seat gained by the Republicans, 1 seat lost by the Democrats, but this might be looking like, yeah, the Republicans might have taken the House, the Senate, and the presidency at this rate. When this number updates and finalizes, I'll let you guys know. This might take a couple days for it to actually get processed. So in smash terms, in case you still don't understand, okay, the Democrats, they got 3 stock, okay? The last time the Republicans had control of the House and the Senate and the presidency was actually the last time Donald Trump was in office. So it's going to be the same song and dance, except he's got a little bit more practice now. So they got some plans here going forward that they plan on probably what they couldn't accomplish in the last term, they're going to try to do this time. Oh man, this election got me stressed out, bro. My stomach, I'm hungry. It feels like I just got hit by a car. But guys, before we get further into today's topics, I'm happy to announce that today's video is sponsored by Factor, healthy eating made easy. That's right guys, I'm back yet again with my favorite sponsor because I love to feed you guys. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easy by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals directly at your doorstep. These guys have a team of gourmet chefs that create each meal using only quality ingredients, meaning not only will you eat better, but it tastes delicious too. And guys, there's literally no meal prep, okay? Factor delivers your hand-selected meals directly at your door. You heat it up for like 2 minutes and then you just chow down. Look, it's November, okay? It's dark outside. You don't want to go out there and eat food. You don't want to go brave the darkness to go eat food. No, just let Factor bring it to you. Also, you can try Protein Plus meals specifically that has at least 30 grams of protein or more per serving. Or if you really want to treat yourself, you can try one of the upscale options, which includes both surf and turf and surf and surf meal options, including roasted garlic filet mignon and shrimp and Cajun spice shrimp salmon. Mwah, delicioso. Personally, when I spend time trying to figure out what to cook, I always end up eating unhealthy and spending way too much money. But Factor removes all of the guesswork. I know exactly what I'm eating well ahead of time, and I know that it's going to taste damn good. So yeah, guys, what are you waiting for? You guys can head to factor75.com or click the link below to use code 50OMNI to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. Again, that's code 50OMNI at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. And again, special thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's video. So guys, I've read a lot of articles and it's kind of hard to find like something that's kind of like objective and not biased, okay? There are some articles that are saying like, now what? And it's like, now that Trump's in office, everything's going to be amazing. Yes. And it talks about all the positive stuff. And you see other people like where it's like, yeah, Trump is in office, everything's going to be disastrous, right? It's a lot of people are coming in here with different informations and trying to spread, I guess, what they think is truth. So it's very difficult to find objective information. I did see this article here with AP News, which mostly kind of is objective. So I'll read through this with you guys as well so that you guys can see some of the implications of the now that Donald Trump is in office. Because as you guys know, as Donald Trump has been running this campaign, he has made a lot of promises, a lot of threats. And now the question is he going to follow up on both of those? And look at what Trump has proposed. Immigration. Quote, build the wall from his 2016 campaign has become creating the largest mass deportation program in history. Trump has called for using the National Guard and empowering domestic police forces in the effort. Still, Trump has been scant on the details of what the program will look like and how he would ensure that it targeted only people in the U.S. illegally. He's pitched ideological screening for would-be entrants, ending birthright citizenship, which would almost certainly require constitutional change. Instead, he'd reinstitute first-term policies such as remain in Mexico, limiting migrants on public health grounds, and severely limiting or banning entrants from certain majority Muslim nations. Altogether, the approach would not just crack down on illegal migration, but curtail immigration overall. When it comes to abortion, Trump played down abortion as a second-term priority, even as he took credit for the Supreme Court, and a woman's federal right to terminate a pregnancy and returning abortion regulation to state governments. At Trump's insistence, the GOP platform, for the first time in decades, did not call for a national ban on abortion. Trump maintains that overturning Roe v. Wade is enough on the federal level. Trump said last month on his social media platform, Truth Social, that he would veto a federal abortion ban if legislation reached his desk. For those of you guys who are wondering, like, are they banning like abortion at a federal level? Is that something that's about to happen? According to Trump here, he's saying it won't, but only time will tell. To continue, but an example of how the conservative movement might proceed with or without Trump, anti-abortion activists note that the GOP platform still asserts that a fetus should have due process protections under the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. That constitutional argument is a roadmap for conservatives to seek a national abortion ban through federal court. Next big issue is taxes. Okay, Trump's tax policies broadly tilt toward corporations and wealthier Americans. That's mostly due to his promise to extend his 2017 tax overhaul with a few notable changes that include lowering the corporate income tax rate to 15% from the current 21%. If you guys don't know, when it came to the Democratic Party, they were trying to tax the hell out of corporations and millionaires and billionaires, right? They was trying to take all of that money, right? But Trump was like, nah, that's not how how we're going to do it. In fact, we're going to help out the homies and we're going to lower their taxes. That also involves rolling back Democratic President Joe Biden's income tax hikes on the wealthiest Americans and scrapping Inflation Reduction Act levies that finance energy measures intended to combat climate change. Those policies notwithstanding, Trump has put more emphasis on new proposals aimed at working and middle-class Americans, exempting earned tips, Social Security wages, and overtime wages from income taxes. It's noteworthy, however, that his proposal on tips, depending on how Congress might write it, could give a backdoor tax break to top wage earners by allowing them to reclassify some of their pay as tip income. A prospect that at its most extreme could see hedge fund managers or top flight attorneys taking advantage of a policy that Trump frames as being designed for restaurant servers, bartenders, and other service workers. So in layman's terms, if you're not following, okay, it's a new tax rule that sounds like it's going to help people like in the lower class, but rich people are going to be able to use it and abuse it as well in order to save like lots of money on taxes by reclassifying tip income. These are huge, okay? Tariffs and trade. A lot of talk about the tariffs and trade and what he's going to be doing here. Trump's posture on international trade is to distrust world markets as harmful to American interests. He proposes tariffs of 10% to 20% on foreign goods, and in some speeches has mentioned even higher percentages. He promises to reinstitute an August 2020 executive order requiring that the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, buy essential medications only from U.S. companies. He pledges to block the purchases of any vital infrastructure in the U.S. by Chinese buyers. DEI, LGBTQ, and civil rights. Okay, Trump has called for the rolling back of societal emphasis on diversity and for legal protections for LGBTQ citizens. Trump has called for ending diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in government institutions using federal funding as leverage. Okay, that's an absolutely huge freaking deal. On transgender rights, Trump promises generally to end boys and girls sports, a practice he insists without evidence is widespread, but his policies go well beyond standard applause lines from his rally speeches. Among other ideas, Trump would roll back the Biden administration's policy of extending Title IX civil rights protections to transgender students, and he would ask Congress to require that only two genders can be recognized at birth. There's more, okay? But lock in, all right? You guys need to know everything, okay? Pay attention to every single word that I'm saying here. This is something that you need to know, and repeat it and share it with your friends so they can all be educated and knowledgeable about what might be happening in the future, okay? This is the part where I'm telling you to lock in. When it comes to the regulation, the federal bureaucracy, and the presidential power, okay? This is basically like Trump and his ability to do whatever the hell he wants. The president-elect seeks to reduce the role of the federal bureaucrats and regulations across economic sectors. Trump frames all regulatory cuts as an economic magic wand, pledges precipitous drops in the U.S. household utility bills by removing obstacles to fossil fuel production, including opening all federal lands for exploration, even though U.S. energy production is already at record high. Trump promises to unleash housing construction by cutting regulations, though most construction rules come from state and local government. He also says he would end frivolous litigation from the environmental extremists. The approach would in many ways strengthen the executive branch influence. That power would come more directly from the White House. He would then make it easier to fire federal workers by classifying thousands of them as being outside civil service protections. That could weaken the government's power to enforce statutes and rules by reducing the number of employees engaging in the work and potentially impose a chilling effect on those who remain. Trump also claims that presidents have exclusive power to control federal spending even after Congress has appropriated the money. Trump argues that lawmakers' budget actions, quote, set a ceiling on spending but not a floor, meaning the president's constitutional duty to faithfully execute the laws includes discretion on whether to spend the money. This interpretation could set up court battle with Congress. And lastly, as a candidate, he also suggested that the Federal Reserve, an independent entity that sets interest rates, should be subject to more presidential power. This man wants to talk to Powell directly. Though he has not offered details, any such move would represent a momentous change to how the U.S. economic and monetary systems work. That would be absolutely just ginormous. Education. I heard about this one. I heard he wanted to basically get rid of the Department of Education. The Federal Department of Education will be targeted for elimination in a second Trump administration. That does not mean that Trump wants Washington out of classroom. He still proposes, among other maneuvers, using federal funding as leverage to pressure K through 12 school systems to abolish tenure and adopt merit pay for teachers and to scrap diversity programs at all levels of education. He calls for pulling federal funding, quote, for any school or program pushing critical race theory, gender ideally, or other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children, end quote. Higher education, Trump proposes taking over accreditation processes for colleges, a move he describes as his secret weapon against the Marxist maniacs and lunatics. He says control higher education. Trump takes aim at higher education endowments, saying he will collect billions and billions of dollars from schools via taxing, fining, and suing excessively large private university endowments at schools that do not comply with his edicts that almost certainly would end up in protracted legal fight. As in other policy areas, Trump isn't actually proposing limiting federal power in higher education, but strengthening it. He calls for redirecting the confiscated endowment money into an online American academy, offering college credentials to all Americans without tuition charges. Quote, it will be strictly non-political, and there will be no wokeness or jihadism allowed. None of that's going to be allowed, Trump said November 1st, 2023. That was last year. Almost done, guys. We got Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. Okay, Trump insists he would protect Social Security and Medicare, popular programs geared towards older Americans, and among the biggest pieces of the federal spending pie each year. Okay, there are questions about how his proposal not to tax tip and overtime wages might affect Social Security and Medicare. If such plans eventually involved only income taxes, the entitlement programs would not be affected. But exempting those wages from payroll taxes would reduce the funding stream for Social Security and Medicare outlays. Trump has talked little about Medicaid, but his first administration in general defaulted to approving state requests for waivers of various federal rules, and it broadly endorsed state-level work requirements for the recipients. In terms of the Affordable Care Act and the health care, okay, as he has since 2015, Trump calls for repealing the Affordable Care Act and its subsidized health insurance marketplaces, but he has still not proposed a replacement. In a September debate, he insisted he had concepts of a plan. In the latter stages of the campaign, Trump played up his alliance with former presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a longtime critic of vaccines and of pesticides used in U.S. agriculture. Trump repeatedly told rally crowds that he would put Kennedy in charge of making America healthy again. In terms of climate and energy, Trump, who claims falsely that climate change is a hoax, blasts Biden-era spending on cleaner energy designed to reduce U.S. reliance on fossil fuel. He proposes an energy policy, a transportation infrastructure spending anchored to fossil fuels, roads, bridges, and combustion engine vehicles. Drill, baby, drill was a regular chant at Trump rallies. Trump says he does not oppose electric vehicles, but promises to end all Biden incentives to encourage EV market development. That's pretty interesting because his running mate was basically Elon Musk. Trump also pledges to roll back Biden-era fuel efficiency standards. And the last two, the workers' rights and the national defense and America's role in the world. Okay, Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance framed their ticket as favoring America's workers, but Trump could make it harder for workers to unionize. In discussing auto workers, Trump focused almost exclusively on Biden's push towards electric vehicles. When he mentioned unions, it was often to lump, quote, the union bosses and CEOs together as complicit in this disastrous electric car scheme. In October 2023 statement, Trump said of the United Auto Workers, I'm telling you, you shouldn't pay those dues. And in terms of the national defense and the America's role in the world, Trump's rhetoric and policy approach in world affairs is more isolationist diplomatically, non-interventionalist militarily, and protectionist economically than U.S. has been since World War II. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what the hell that sentence just meant. But the details are more complicated. He pledges expansion of the military, promises to protect the Pentagon, spending from austerity efforts, and proposes a new missile defense shield, an old idea from the Reagan era during the Cold War. Trump insists he can end Russia's war in Ukraine and the Israel-Hamas war without explaining how. Trump summarizes his approach through another Reagan phrase, peace through strength, but he remains critical of NATO and top U.S. military brass. Quote, I don't consider them leaders, end quote, Trump said of Pentagon officials that Americans, quote, see on television. He repeatedly praised authoritarians like Hungary's Viktor Orban and Russia's Vladimir Putin. Phew. All right. So that's a lot, and that's the summary, okay? What you kind of need to know when it comes to politicians, right? Is that politicians lie. You guys know this, okay? So what Trump said, or what any of these politicians say, and what they actually do will never, ever match one for one. A lot of them will just say things just for you to get their vote, and then once they get in power, they'll do their own thing. You know, I'm gonna do my own thing. So looking at this objectively, it's kind of difficult to tell what he's going to do without just basically using his last presidency as a reference of what he already did. When it comes to new things that he's proposing, it's kind of, is he going forward with it or not? a kind of wait and see type situation on the promises, if he's going to execute on them not, and if so, how far will he go? And will there be new things that he didn't propose coming in? You best damn believe your ass that we're going to see some crazy things that he did not say that he's definitely going to be doing. So guys, let's wrap this up, okay? Because we're going to be talking about this for weeks and weeks, okay? So I'm not going to shove everything down your throats in like literally one episode, okay? But in terms of some of the public response that we've been seeing, one of them being XQC, who I think bet like $700,000 that Kamala Harris would win. I think he supports Donald Trump for 100%, but he said the odds were too great. And yeah, man, bet that Kamala will win. And here's him live finding out that he lost. XQC finds out on stream he's going to lose, tries to cash out, but unfortunately he lost the $700K.
Oh, these guys are looking more lively.
Yeah. Come on, Lickman. Drinking fucking caffeine over there. He's got the Red Bull. He's like, all right, we can do this.
Alan.
Tries to cash out.
Didn't need it.
Oh my God.
Didn't need it.
I agree. Didn't need it.
This guy's career is flashing in front of his eyes. At least you're not him, right?
Career. This guy's like 90 years old. His career's over. Okay.
You've got tons and tons of people who are saying that Donald Trump cheated. That's right. The same thing that happened when Donald Trump lost and he said stop the count and said that there was election fraud. Now the same things happen on the other foot and people are saying Donald Trump cheated and that there was the calls and the bomb threats and the Russian propaganda and that somehow he suppressed the votes or he did something, used Elon Musk to, basically tamper with the votes and push out social media, bought off the platforms, XYZ. A lot of people saying this was not a fair election and you're going to see this for a very long time, if not forever. And then you got some crazy, insane tweets. There's some people who are out here tweaking, okay? Absolutely freaking tweaking. This person said, I hope the male loneliness epidemic eats you MAGA scum alive. Hope you feel a hole in your soul and feel unloved until your dying day. Hope you rot in your deathbed wondering why women looked at you like you had rabies your whole life as you close your eyes for the last time. Whew. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is normal. Every time you scroll through Twitter, people with 200,000+ likes on there. There's a lot of people on Twitter right now, very, very, very pissed off. As the days goes by, I'll show you guys some of the biggest things that are coming and popping up on these Twitters in terms of what people are thinking from both sides. Okay, but the one that a lot of people is absolutely terrified about is this whole concept of the Trump fans Project 2025 plan from the Republicans that are basically going to be used in order to basically change the way that United States is done at its core, essentially trying to nullify as much as possible and take as much control as possible. There are people who are saying that this is a hoax, it's not real, and that it's not actually going to happen because Trump has distanced himself from it. But then some people are saying that's just a facade, that is fake, that it is real, that a lot of people who support Trump, that are people that he's been on his payroll, have actually been a part of writing this book as well. So now it's just going to be a matter of question is, are we going to start seeing these concepts from this Project 2025 plan come to fruition? Is it a myth? Is it fake? Or are all these things going to actually start happening? Some of the things that are listed in Project 2025 being seize power within the federal government. That's definitely going to happen. Implements a national backdoor ban on abortion without Congress and jail health providers. Pack the Supreme Court with MAGA extremists. I do remember him saying that his goal was basically to get the he was going to go to the Supreme Court and then basically put people in there that are red, Republicans, and specifically MAGA, and then essentially make them as young as possible so that they can stay there for as long as possible, bro. Like, man's is trying to hack the system. And climate change protections and gut clean energy programs. Reinstate crippling student debt payments. Replace nonpartisan government employees with politically appointed Trump loyalists. Pardon violent January 6 criminal insurrections. Abolish the Department of Education. Force states to report women's miscarriages and abortions to Trump's federal government. Repeal protections for LGBTQ Americans. Reinstate Trump's transgender military ban and expel transgender service members. Cut taxes for the ultra wealthy. Increase taxes for middle class families. Guts Medicare and Social Security. Eliminate union and worker protections. Reinstate and expand Trump's Muslim ban. Withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. End the independence of Department of Justice and FBI. Turn the Department of Justice and FBI into enforcement arms of White House. Implement and expand book bans. Line big pharma's pockets by ending prescription drug price caps for seniors. Ban abortion medication. Put limits on contraception access, rip away protections for a woman's right to life-saving medical care, go after marriage equality, put immigrants in mass detention camps, rip immigrant children from the arms of their mothers, repeal Medicare's ability to negotiate lower drug prices, let employees drastically cut overtime, replace climate advisors with fossil fuel lobby. Yes, and I'm pretty sure that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is not everything that is in the Trump Vance Project 2025 plan that some people have said. And there's other versions of the Trump Vance Project 2025 plan that exist. As you read from here, some of these things are things that Trump has already, verbally said that he was going to do. Okay, now whether he again follows up on that or not, we shall see. Time will tell. But this is the thing that's terrifying a lot of people, because they feel like when all of these things go into place, it's going to completely change America for good. So guys, that's the 411 when it comes to the what now that Trump is into office. At this point, now we wait and see what happens. If those of you guys are kind of worried about some of these things coming to fruition, then you got to kind of get ahead of it, be proactive, and do what you need to do. And some people are like, hey, this is going to be good for our economy and everything is not going to be as bad as it looks, kind of thing. You shall see type situations. And other people on the other side saying those things as well. My job here, as I promised, to keep you guys on the loop is what actually happens. Okay, what are the factual things that are going to occur? If there's any policy changes, major ones, and definitely there will be, I will keep you guys posted so you can know what to do from it. But that's today's video. There was more news that I wanted to talk about, but I decided to just condense this whole entire video to just talking about the election. Tomorrow, I'll cover some of the smaller things that happened. Like I think Johnny Somali is actually gone for good. Thank freaking God, okay? And then there's some news about the Nintendo Switch. I'll keep you guys posted on some of the news that you missed because the election was basically bearing and taking over everything else, okay? This is not going to turn into just a whole politics type channel, but obviously we got to talk about straight up politics because it's affecting everyone. This is affecting people internationally. I saw people across the world pissed off. Andrew Tate super happy. I saw some other people pissed off because they're like, oh my God, what is America going to do with us? It's a lot. So I decided to just put it in one video. But again, business as usual. I'm going to keep you guys informed on what's happening because that is my job and that's my duty for you guys. That's what I'm choosing to do. Stay safe out on these streets because these streets aren't safe, and brush your teeth, okay? I love you guys. Take it easy. And make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't. On your way out, subscribe, okay? Hit the bell notification because I'm going to be keeping you guys posted. I'm going to be posting a lot more because we got to talk a lot more, okay? I got to keep you guys informed on what's happening, all right? I love you guys. Y'all take it easy. Peace.